Hello everyone. So this is going to be a strange one, but I just wanted to talk about what I consider to be the top 10 tips that I use for quick analysis on Excel. Most of the time, this is the stuff that you're gonna need to do before you take your data to Python. Um, so yeah, there's actually quite a number of tools you can use with Excel in terms of like quick data analysis, but like this is what I consider to be the top 10, right? And before I get started with that, I just wanted to talk about what can you expect in terms of like sizes and limits for rows and columns when you're working with Excel. So if you go to cell A1 and then you press Control or Command, whichever laptop you're on, and the right arrow, so you're gonna go all the way to the last cell, which is XFD. So this is column 16,384. So Excel has a limit on the number of columns that you can have. So now the most important one, right, it's the rows. How many data points can I have in total in an Excel spreadsheet? So again, you go back to cell A1, press Control and the down arrow, last row, which is 1,048,576, right? So if you scroll back to the top, you can see that so after 2007, all Excel spreadsheets with this file format XLSX, right? So the limit they have is 16,384 columns. That's 2 to the power 14. And in terms of rows, that's 1,000,000 rows. So that's 2 to the power 20, right? The reason I wanted to bring this up is because last year, around September and October, the UK government lost about 15,841 new positive cases for the illness. And so what this does is like there's the steps that needs to be taken when new cases are reported, like contact tracing, isolation, and all of that. So this is life and death type of stuff that they ended up losing that data. So and later on they came out and said that they were using a pre-2007 Excel file, right? So notice the difference. XLSX, that's after 2007 version, and then the pre-2007 version is XLX, and this one has a whopping 256 columns limit compared to the 16,000, and this one has about 65,000 rows. So now with LibreOffice, you have an unlimited number of rows that you have in your file. But the problem is if you're working in comma separated value format, you can only save the current sheet, right? So if I did a bunch of work in these other sheets and then I pressed save, it's only gonna save the current active one. Pro tip number 2 is, say for instance I want to copy this data, I want to copy this table into Excel, right? And so that I can do whatever analysis that I want to do there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this data, right? And then I'm gonna go back to my Excel file. So I'm gonna go to paste special, pull out that little pop-up and then select text, right? So now I have the table copied as it is from the website, right? So what I'm gonna do real quick is get rid of that text at the top. Just delete and shift the cells up, right? So now I have my table copied and pasted, so now I can do some work in it. But like if you look here, this Excel doesn't recognize this data point as a number, right? So the next tip it's going to be find and replace, right? So for you, in order to be able to do that, you just press Control and F, and that pop-up will come up, and then you also select the replace tab, right? So what I want to do right now is I want to replace all the full stops with commas, all the periods with commas. Hit replace all 180 replacements were made. Now I can close. You see now these are numbers that Excel can work with, right? So tip number 4 is say I wanted to filter out with the top 5 teams, right? So what then you will do in order to create those drop down filters is you select all of the headings, you go to data and then you click on filter. Right, so now I can deselect everybody and then just select the top 5 teams that I wanted to select and have the data. And you can also come here and then clear all the filters. Another way to do this by way of shortcut, you would select the headings again, Control Shift L, then you would get your filters there, and then you can do the same. You can select the same if there's a specific team that you're interested in. Let's say I wanna compare between Boston and Atlanta, and then I have the data there, right? And then you can clear. So now tip number 5, we're gonna go ahead and do VLOOKUPs. So what I have pre-written here is 2 ranks, right? So we're gonna look for the odd numbered rank. So with VLOOKUPs, what you're trying to do is join 2 different tables, either in different sheets or in different spreadsheets, right? So in this particular case, what we have is I want to go to this data and then pull in the names of the teams that have an odd numbered rank and also an even numbered rank, right? So I'm going to be joining this table with that table based on the rank. And when you want to punch in a formula in Excel, you start it with an equal. So I'm just going to type in VLOOK and then hit tab, so then it auto completes for me, so that I know it knows that this is the formula that I'm looking for. But instead of punching out the formula in this tab, I like to use this the visual aid, right? So what I'm gonna do here is which value do I want to look up? I want to look up the ranks, and I don't want it to, so you can just tag in an add there so that it stops at column number 16. So which table do I want to pull the data from? This table. So I'm just gonna select everything here, and then the column that I want, so this one is the column number that I want. So the team names are column number 2, and do I want exact matches or not? Yeah, I want exact matches. Hit enter, so you see your result is there. So instead of repeating it for everybody, what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna double click at the corner there, and all the data will be filled for me. I'm gonna do the same thing here, equals to VL tab, and then click on my function GUI over there. So this is the data that I want to match based on, and now this is the table that I want to match from, and I want from the second column, just taking a 0 there if it's false. So I'm just gonna autocomplete as well, right? So that's how you do a VLOOKUP. So for tips number 6, most of the times that you're gonna find, say maybe a client sends you a data that is exported from some system that had some issues, and then you would find that some of the rows are just empty, right? So here it's easier, I can just delete the empty rows, but most of the time is that this is going to be impractical because there's going to be like a huge data set, right? So what you want to do right now is you want to click Control Shift right, so it's going to select data until the last column, and now and hold Control Shift, and now we're going to press the down arrow, so it's just going to go to the next break, next break, next break, next break, next break in the data like that until you get to the last row. So now I have selected all of my data, including the empty rows that I want to get rid of. So what you need to do now is go back to the home tab, go to find and select, and then you go to special. So what we want to select here are the blanks. So we go ahead and do that. So what you need to know about select blanks is that if, for example, this row here had entries here and then just one blank, it's gonna select that blank. So you just need to be careful of that, right? So now I have all of my blank rows selected. I wanna come down here and then delete the selected row sheets. It's gonna push up the cells of the deleted rows. So now I have one continuous data, But now the problem is, like I said, I've repeated the data set, so there's duplicates in here, which is going to be the next tip, how to get rid of duplicates. Right, so you're going to come back here again, Control Shift, right arrow, still holding Control Shift, down arrow. So now I have selected everything. Right, so now I'm gonna go to the data tab, and right there you have remove duplicates icon. Select that, and then you select your column, and then you click OK, and it will tell you 60 duplicates found and removed. So now we have 30 unique values, and it should be 30 because from the table that we put in, there's 30 NBA teams, and we have 30 NBA results here. So now tip number 9. So for tip number 9, we're gonna be splitting the data. Right, so say for example you have this data here, you have the rank of the team, you have the name of the team, and then you have the date. Say maybe for example this is a fixture date, and you want to be able to pull out, say maybe the date, the month, or the year. Right, so what you'll do then is that you'll select that column, and I'm selecting it like this because it's about 15 data points. If it's a lot of data, you can just select it there, but I'm just going to select it like this, and then you go to your data tab, and then you go to text to column. Right here it's good because we know the delimiter. So the delimiter is that slash that's leaning forward. So I'm just going to select delimited there, and then hit next, and then I'm just going to deselect the tab there, go to other because there's no slash there, and then just enter the symbol that I want to split my data by, and then go to next. So before you click on finish, okay, let me just go ahead and click finish and show you something real quick. Right, so I'm just going to click finish. So I have my year extracted, I have my month extracted, but for the date it gives me this weird format over here. Right, so that is because this column Excel still reads it as a date. Right, so I have the date, and then it autofills 1990 and then January. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and undo what I did, go back to the data tab, go back to text to columns, again select a delimited, and I know my delimiter is still selected there, it's a slash. I'm just gonna click next. Now instead of Excel reading this as a date, I want it to read it as a text. I also want Excel to read this as a text. I also want Excel to read this as text, and then I'm just gonna click that, and now so I have my date here, I have my month, and I have my year here. Right, so now that I've showed you how to split using a delimiter, say now that you don't have any delimiter on, say that now your columns are not delimited by any symbol that we can use to split the data with. So what we're gonna do now is go back to text to columns, and then we're gonna pick fixed width. Right, so we're gonna go to next. So with fixed width is that you come here and then you select the number of elements that you want in that column. I'm going to create another column that splits the date, that splits the month, that splits the year. Next, and then again I'm going to go to text. I'm going to go to text. I'm going to go to text again and click finish. So I have my month here, and then I have my year here. Right, and then you can see I have those slashes over there. So what I'm going to do now is select that, and then go back to Control F, and then replace. Right, so I'm just going to do a session replace. So I'm going to search the slashes and then replace them with nothing, and then there you go, voila. So now your data is split, but now it's in text. So the next step would be how to convert it into numbers. So tip number 10, so after splitting your data, and now you have your data in text formats, so what you can do then is select your data, Control Shift, and then the bottom, right, and then you're going to click on this warning sign over here, and then you're going to select convert to number. So it's just going to convert all of those entries into numbers, and then they're going to be popped into the right side to indicate that now Excel reads them as numbers. I'm going to do the same thing for the month. I'm going to convert that to number. I'm going to do the same thing for the date as well, convert that to number. Right. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.